I'm excited to see what kind of facial hair he's bringing into this next preseason game because I'm hoping it's back.
Hopefully it's more than I got.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, it's not hard to beat. I think he already has that, and he was clean shaven. Welcome back to the Benchwarmers podcast. I'm Preston Wilson.
This is Callum McAlexander.
And we're a few days out of the second preseason game after about 5 days past the first preseason game here against the 49ers. And a lot of stuff happened, this week since that game. And we're here to talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
What were your biggest takeaways from the game?
I'd have to say our special teams did very well. Our offensive line looked like the Great Wall of China. They definitely protected our man out there. Other than that, some areas we could work in. I'm excited to see who's going to make the cut and make the team.
Yeah, we'll go over that today. We're going to go over our 53-man roster predictions and as well as what we hope to see up here in a few days against the Cardinals. So to kick things off, we're going to start with some moves the Chiefs have made this past week. So they cut wide receiver Antonio Callaway, or they waived him because of an injury. They also released Chad Williams, Evan Bayless, and Manny Patterson, another wide receiver, tight end, and defensive back, respectively. And they also put Elijah McGuire on injured reserve. So we're seeing moves already, getting ready to meet that next cut line. 2 wide receivers out of that deep wide receiver room. One running back's gone. I like McGuire, but I think if it wasn't for the injury, I think he would have lasted a little bit longer on the team. But we can see them making moves already, so I'm interested to see what the next wave of cuts look like after this, and see which group they try to target. They want to take a deep look at next, because looking at who we still have quite a bit of wide receivers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like almost 10, if not more. Including Jody Fortson, who's tight end wide receiver. We also have a pretty deep cornerback room, and we have a lot of defensive linemen who they're going to have to figure out, who's going to stay and who's going to go.
How many safeties do you think we're going to keep?
I think we're going to keep 4. I think we're going to keep Sorensen, Thornhill, Matthew, and Devin Key.
I do like Amari Watts a little bit better than Key for the simple fact he kept the plays in front of him. Devin Key, excuse me. He did slip up a little bit there when they had the 70-yard touchdown, basically. But Amari Watts, he did have the interception. It was thrown right to him. Thankfully, he caught the ball, which they should. But Devin Key, I want to see what he could do next. After he did better after he got beat, but I want to see what more he has in the preseason.
The biggest thing for me between Devin Key and Armani Watts is who is going to be the best on special teams, because those guys are going to be, they're going to be on punt coverage, they're going to be on kickoff coverages. They
have speed.
What they do on those plays is really going to decide who's going to make the final roster between those two.
Sometimes it comes down to special teams on who's going to make it or not.
Yeah. Just talking about this game, I have a few stat lines highlighted. We have the stats from the game out in front of us here. So I really liked what I saw from Jody Fortson, that number 4 tight end on our roster behind Kelsey and Bell and Gray. Showed really good hands, going from wide receiver to tight end like that, over the offseason and adding on a few pounds. I think he could be that good backup tight end that we need to catch balls, who does more than just block, because after Kelsey, we've had a hard time filling those roster spots, finding good backup tight ends. Yeah.
I agree with that. Surprisingly, running backs were all solid. Jerick McKinnon, I was kind of big on a couple of plays he had. He broke free as a speedster, and I think he can have some potential with us in the backfield.
Yeah, he showed some really good flashes in that game. And Pat, I know he's been talking, big things about him. He had 3 carries for 19 yards, over 6 yards a carry, which is pretty good. You don't expect to see that type of consistency, through an entire game or even throughout an entire season. But just having that big play ability is huge, especially on our offense that's full of big playmakers, and that'll definitely help him, beat out guys like Darwin Thompson and Derek Gore to get that last spot. I also like Tim Ward on the defensive line. He played a bulk of the snaps. He's one of those, the third, fourth string guys, but I think he had a great case to making the roster. He had 5 tackles, 4 of them solo, with 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, and 2 tackle for losses. He was all over the place that game, and I was really impressed with what I saw.
He is a stud. We could use him.
Yeah, and a lot of his some of his tackles, they weren't even on the defensive line. I saw him chase down a few guys, that got past him, and just that awareness to be able to be more, relevant, regardless of where the ball carrier is. He doesn't have to be behind the line of scrimmage for him to be there. Just showing that mobility to be able to make plays, down the field for a defensive lineman is huge, and I think that'll really help his case making this 53-man roster.
Yeah, it definitely reminds me of a young Big Jones. Hopefully he steps in big if there's any absences to Frank Clark. I understand that he is dealing with a hamstring injury again, and we still don't know what's going to happen with the Black Get situation with the Uzi.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of memes going around every time he gets carted off the field. They're like, he's just going to make sure his Uzi's still in his locker, I hope that he didn't bring any guns to training camp in these preseason games, but, you never know what's going to happen in this crazy world. But.
Well, we do know Travis Kelce brought a razor to the training camp facility.
Yeah, I agree. Travis Kelce brought too much razor to the training camp. He, I've seen a lot of memes going around about that terrible picture that the Chiefs posted on social media.
The baby face.
Oh, dude, he looks like a high school principal, man. He went from your daughter calls me daddy too to I'll have your daughter home at 9.
Definitely.
Not a good. I mean, and he looks a good look for Travis, but
he cleaned up well, Bill.
Yeah. He definitely needs. I can't wait. I'm excited to see what kind of facial hair he's bringing into this next preseason game because I'm hoping it's back.
Hopefully it's more than I got.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, it's not hard to beat. I think he already has that, and he was clean shaven. Another guy I liked in this preseason game was Tommy Townsend.
Oh yeah, Shaka Bra, bro. Love him,
dude. That punt pinned him in inside the 1.
Yeah,
couldn't have thrown it better than that. And then averaging over 50 yards a punt with a long of 66. Not very many guys in the league have that kind of leg.
Reminds me of a Coquit.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for his Head and Shoulders advertisement to come out because...
With Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah. They've got Troy Polamalu on defense, and they got Pat Mahomes on offense. Who they got representing special teams in these commercials, dude? Get Tommy Townsend in a Head and Shoulders commercial. He even said himself he's been using it since I don't know when. But with hair that good, it's got to be the Head and Shoulders.
It has to be the Head and Shoulders.
It's got to be the hair cotton.
It keeps him balanced when he punts.
Yeah, for sure. Now, moving on to guys that I thought had a very underwhelming performance against the 49ers. Two of our offensive rookies, Cornell Powell and Noah Gray, wasn't too impressed with what I saw from them. Cornell Powell, he was on the field. He didn't play the whole game, obviously, but, with those second and third string guys, he got snaps, but he was only targeted 3 times. I don't know if that was because, backups being backups, or it was he just wasn't able to get open. But I wasn't too impressed. He had 2 catches for 20 yards on three attempts. So I mean that's not very good in a preseason game where you're getting the bulk of your snaps. When you're in his position, a rookie who's trying to make a name for himself, you got to be able to make the most of each of those attempts when you get out there. And he didn't show what I was hoping to see. Now he has the capability, I feel, to have huge games these next few preseason games and really change my opinion about him. But I just wasn't very, enthusiastic about the way he performed against the 49ers.
You do have to factor in the amount of snaps he got with Patrick Mahomes. He didn't have that many with Pat Mahomes. I think with us playing, the first half, that he might actually get in there with Mahomes and break one loose. Yeah. But I definitely see potential there. I hope he makes the cut.
Yeah. And another guy wasn't too happy about his performance in terms of offensive production was Noah Gray. 0 catches for 0 yards on 2 targets, including one that bounced off of his shoulder pad for an interception. He's supposed to be this big slot guy who's supposed to be another lethal weapon for Pat to have, and he just didn't show that.
He did not show up at all. I definitely expect more out of him.
Yeah, he's going to have to – I will say, blocking, pretty good on that side.
A lot better than Tim Tebow.
Oh, a lot better than Tim Tebow, for sure. He would beat out Tim Tebow every day of the week. But as far as like offensive production-wise goes, just hope to see a little bit more out of him these next couple games.
I agree with that.
Anyways, let's get into roster predictions here. So if the season started tomorrow and we only had the 49ers game behind us, these are the people we think would make the 53-man roster. So starting with quarterbacks, we had Patrick Mahomes, Chad Henne, Anthony Gordon, and Shane Bouchelet.
Patrick Mahomes and Chad Henne definitely will make the cut.
Yeah. Last year we only kept 2 quarterbacks on the roster. I think we're going to keep the same. I think Pat and Chad are going to be on there. Really, I think the only question as to what's going to happen is which one of these quarterbacks are going to make the practice squad, because one of them is going to make the practice squad. I think right now, based on the 49ers game, Anthony Gordon.
Gordon did pass the ball a lot better and was very accurate. Shane, he was okay. He did get the winning touchdown, but he was very inaccurate with his passing game.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon just had a much better pocket presence than Shane Bouchelet did. And I just think that, especially like when the play broke down and he had to improvise, I think Gordon, he was much more poised and made a lot more completions, especially to guys like Jerick McKinnon. McKinnon always seemed like he was open on those plays. And if you know one thing about Pat likes it when you're open when that stuff happens.
Oh, yeah, he'll find the open man.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, not much controversy here. I've got...
Oh, yeah.
Not much controversy here. I've got Pat Mahomes, Chad Henne making the final roster, and then Anthony Gordon making the practice squad. We might keep Shane Bouchelet, but honestly, it doesn't really matter at this point unless something catastrophic happens, which we hope not.
Moving on to the running backs. Who do you think is going to make the cut?
So, Elijah McGuire, out on ER. He's not on the team anymore. He's waived. So that leaves us with CEH, Darrell Williams, McKinnon, Darwin Thompson, and then Derek Gore. So for me, I think Clyde, Darrell, and Jerick are going to make the roster. I could see Andy Reid keeping Darwin Thompson, but like that's not out of the realm of possibility. Just because Jerick McKinnon, is really good in the passing game, but as a runner, we're not really sure how effective he's going to be yet. And Darwin Thompson, he had that 100 and some odd yard game against the Chargers last year. He's proven himself to be serviceable when we need him.
Yeah, I'm big on McKinnon, though. I think he could be a lot more explosive than Thompson. And Derek Gore, he is no Frank Gore, so he's going to be out of there.
Yeah, he's gonzo. So I could see right now with this roster, I think Clyde, Darrell, and Jerick are making the 53-man, and I see Darwin Thompson going to the practice squad, but I see him being one of those guys that goes back and forth. He's waived, signed to the practice squad, and then he gets signed to the active roster, and back and forth throughout the year, just from the quality of players we have in the running back room. And now we also have Michael Burton, he's a fullback. We signed him to replace Anthony Sherman. We've had Anthony Sherman on the roster many years, and he even caught a few passes.
Sherman, he was a stud.
Yeah.
I hope Burton shines just like him.
Yeah, Burton actually caught a pass for 7 yards, so we'd love to see that. So I definitely see him making the roster as a fullback.
Yeah, and then moving along to the wide receivers, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 11 of them as of right now. We actually did cut.
We cut Callaway and we cut Chad Williams.
Chad Williams, so we are down to 9. Who do you think is going to make it out of those 9?
So I have Tyreek Hill, McCole Hardman. They're locks.
Duh.
Byron Pringle, Demarcus Robinson. They've shown themselves to be serviceable.
Studs.
And for those fringe guys, I've got Cornell Powell and Marcus Kemp.
I agree with those picks. I think they can definitely make the cut.
Who the hell running water?
Oh, it's a fourplex. It always does that.
Okay. Never mind. Okay. Yeah. So I could see guys like Darius Fountain and Marcus French making the practice squad, but I think we only have the room to keep 6 wide receivers. But I think that Kemp and Powell are going to beat out guys like Dieter and Fountain because Powell we spent a draft pick on him. It would be crazy to just put him on the practice squad for anyone else to sign.
And not give him a chance.
Yeah, and I think Marcus Kemp, he might be the 3rd best wide receiver we have.
He's speedster, long, lanky. He goes up and gets the ball. I do love Kemp.
He's yet to get his opportunity in the league, and I think this year he's going to shine, and I think he's going to make him – I think he's going to be serviceable. I think he's going to – bold prediction, I think he's going to have over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Bold predictions, you want to talk about those, I love McCall Hardman. He's a Georgia Bulldog. But bold prediction, I think Byron Pringle might have a better season than him. We can only find out.
Then who? Kemp or Hardman?
Then Hardman.
than Hardman?
Yeah.
Nah, you're tripping because, Pringle's good. He's going to be like a good fourth guy.
It's just a bold prediction here.
Yeah, but your bold prediction's wrong. I'm sorry. I don't see Byron Pringle having more than a third or fourth string type season. Yeah, Pat does a good job distributing the ball around, but Byron Pringle, he's not gonna get open as much as McCole Hardman is. I think McCole is gonna step up big. He's shown a lot of maturity. He's really worked on developing his route running, and if he's able to incorporate that speed, that quickness that he has, I think he's going to be a good backup to Tyreek Hill whenever Tyreek Hill, he gets tired of running these streaks and has to sit out a play or two.
Well, now I think you're just being biased because you had a bowling tournament with Nicole Hardman. But, hey, I like the guy. Like I said, he's from Georgia, and he's a Bulldog alumni.
Yeah, I did bowl with McCole Hardman, and I will say his spare game, a little iffy, but he's working on it just like he's working on his route running. He'll be there. He'll be there at the end of the year.
So we definitely got our locks for wide receivers. Moving along to the tight ends. The best tight end in the game, Travis Kelce. Kansas City Chief, first down. Love saying that every time he catches it, especially on third downs. He's definitely going to make it. Blake Bell and Noah Gray. Those are my 3 locks for the tight end.
This is our first disagreement, I think, of the whole roster. So I have us keeping Kelce, Gray, and Fortson. I think that Blake Bell, what he provides us is blocking.
Oh, yeah, he's got good blocking.
And I think Noah Gray is not that much below Blake Bell in terms of his blocking ability. And I think we'd be better off keeping Jody Fortson with that wide receiver ability than keeping Blake Bell, because if we need someone to block, just put Noah Gray in there.
That's true, but we don't normally run double tight end.
We don't normally, but we also might shift the playbook because we drafted a guy like Noah Gray.
So Noah Gray would be out there over Fortson then.
Yeah, but I'm saying like as depth, keeping that third guy, I think Jody Fortson would be better than keeping Bell. I think a better tight end group would be Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, and Jody Fortson.
It could broaden the playbook for sure.
Yeah. Moving on to the offensive line. So
the Great Wall of China.
So this is going to be a little tough to talk about because everybody's divided into different groups, but I'm just going to go who I have making the roster, not necessarily what specific spot in the line they're going to make. So starting, I've got Orlando Brown at left tackle, Joe Tooney left guard, Creed Humphrey center, Trey Smith at right guard, and Lucas Niang at right tackle. And then for backups, we have Mike Rimmers, Austin Blythe, Andrew Wiley, Nick Allegretti, and Dr. Larry Duvernay-Tardif.
I agree with all of those. I do like them all. I also had Kyle Long in there.
Oh yeah, I have Kyle Long as well.
Just for a backup.
He's injured, but he might be able to, when he's able to come back, he'll be a starting caliber backup if Trey Smith and Lucas Niang are really showing their abilities to be starters in this league. Yeah. My biggest worry with Trey Smith is his injuries. He dealt with that all throughout college. That's why he dropped to the 6th round. But the Chiefs thought they'd be able to keep him healthy. So if we are able to keep Trey Smith healthy, steal the draft easy.
Definitely. And yes, sir, Durant, I don't think he's going to make it for the simple fact that he's probably going to be a traitor just like Durant in the NBA.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can't argue with that, but...
Is it yes, sir, or yes, sir?
It's Yasir Durant.
Yes, yeah. I say yes, sir.
I do have Yasir Durant and Brian Witzman being our two...
backups?
Being our two practice squad.
Yeah.
Maybe Darrell Williams. We just have to see what they end up going with. So that's who we have on offense. Moving on to the defense. Defensive line. I've got Chris Jones, Frank Clark, Alex Okafor, Mike Donna, Joshua Kendejo, and Tim Ward at our defensive end spots. I'm not sure who you had.
Frank the Tank Clark, Big Dick Jones, gotta love him, Alex Okafor, Mike Dana, and Tim Ward, because he was a stud in that preseason game.
So you don't have the rookie 4th-round pick, Joshua Kendejo, making the roster?
Where's he at?
He's right underneath Alex Okafor.
Yeah, I got him as well.
Oh, you got him?
My highlighter here, my bad.
All right. Yeah, he's definitely been a project pick, but if he's able to, reach anywhere near that ceiling, then he'll be, he'll be game-changing. I have Tim Ward making it over Taco Charlton, so based on his performance.
Yeah, Taco is not performing.
He hasn't been available.
He's been a factor.
Yeah, he hasn't been available. He's not on the field. He's always dealing with some sort of injury, and in this league, you have to be available to be able to make plays, and he's not available. And if you're not available, you can't make plays.
Bye.
All right, and then for the interior defensive line, I've got Jaron Reed, Tharshawn Wharton, Derek Nottie and Colin Sanders making the team.
Yep, I have the exact same people making the team. They all will make the roster. Tyler Clark, you gotta go.
Yeah, he might make the practice squad, but 53-man roster, you got to make decisions. And I like Tharshawn Wharton a lot. He came from a really Missouri Southern University, super small school, steal.
In the draft.
Yeah, he wasn't even drafted. He was an undrafted free agent. Brett
Veach brought him in.
Yeah, and he was I think the second highest graded rookie defensive line behind one of the first round picks from last year. So definitely a steal. I think he's going to be he's going to add a lot of depth at interior defensive line. Now moving on to our linebacker group.
Willie Gay
leading it off, and we have Anthony Hitchens, Nick Bolton.
He's a stud, like him, even though he's from Missouri.
Yeah.
Like what he's doing.
I've got those three as locks for making the roster. And then my two depth guys, I've got Ben Neiman and Amari Cobb. I went down a little bit on our roster, and I picked Amari Cobb based on his performance. He made his name involved with almost every defensive play that I saw that went his way. So I liked him.
I do like Cobb. I have Darius Harris over him.
Mm-hmm.
But Cobb might sneak in there and take his spot.
Yeah. As far as who's starting at linebacker, really got to see Nick Bolton's development. I know Anthony Hitchens, he's getting a little up there in age in terms of football years, so Nick Bolton might step in there. It would be a really great young linebacking core with a lot of promising future ahead. When you got Pat Mahomes signed for the next 20, 25, 30 years, however long he's going to play for, having that good strong core, really good. And I mean, Willie Gay, significant improvement this training camp. I haven't met a single soul who knows anything about Chiefs football that has been impressed with what he's been doing. I think he was calling the plays for the defense against the 49ers, and he showed,
leadership.
He showed that leadership we need. Now moving on to the cornerbacks, I have L'Jarius Sneed. Mr. Sneed. I have Travarius Ward, Mike Hughes as locks, and then I have us keeping Rashad Fenton and DeAndre Baker as some depth. DeAndre Baker had that catastrophic leg injury late last year. He was a first round draft pick many moons ago, but he was moving around pretty well in that 49ers game. I really liked what I saw from him. But I think those are the five cornerbacks who keep with Sneed, Ward, Hughes, who was also a first-round pick, Rashad Fenton, and DeAndre Baker for guys who can step in. Unfortunately, all NFL name team DiCaprio Boodle. I didn't really like what I saw from him. I think he's going to be an early cut. I think he'll be in the next wave of cuts. We already cut Manny Patterson. I guess he didn't have a very good game. But I also have Bopeet Keys as one of our practice squad guys.
I actually have Bopeet Keys making the cut. Rashad Fenton, Chris Lemons, Mike Hughes, Travarius Ward. Travarius Ward, and L'Jarius Sneed, Mr. Sneed, all making the cut.
See, you're keeping six cornerbacks?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I'm only keeping five, so we'll have to see where that comes in. Now for safeties, we're gonna just combine the free safeties and strong safeties. So I've got us keeping four with Dirty Dan, Juan Thornhill, Tyrann Mathieu, and I've got Devon Key with Armani Watts on the practice squad.
I got the same thing. I think Keys will step it up in these preseason games and make up for that grand slam that 49ers hit against us with him.
Yeah, he took some bad route to the ball carrier on that 80-yard touchdown that everybody in San Francisco is, praising Trey Lance for. But I mean, if the defense is going to play like that, it's not very hard to complete an 80-yard touchdown. But I honestly, after that play, I think Key played a pretty good game. He took a lot of the snaps, and I think he's going to make his name heard for sure.
And moving on to special teams, Harrison Butker will definitely make it. He's a stud. He's got a leg on him. Tommy Townsend, Shaka Bra, bro. Love him. Love the hair.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, our long snap, James Winchester.
Yeah, no competition there. Tommy T, Harry B, and James Winchester for sure. They're going to be our special teams guys, and Dave Toeb's going to have fun watching those guys kick around footballs. They're I think as a group probably got to be one of the best special team units in football. I'm excited to see just how far and how high and how long Tommy can kick some balls this year.
They kicked the hell out of those balls.
Yeah, he had a great ball kicking clinic against the 49ers. That 1 yard line pin, amazing. And that 66-yard kick, just knowing that if we go, 4 and out on our 25 on a kickoff, and we're able to pin them, inside the 15, that's game changing.
Yeah.
That we win the field position battle every time, especially when we got guys like Hill, Hardman, Hilaire, and obviously Mahomes and Kelsey on offense. I think having a good special teams definitely helps gel everything together, because if we've got offensive pin deep because of good special teams, our defense plays better. They play with more confidence, and if they play better, that means our offense gets the ball quicker, and our offense is already the best in the league.
Yeah, last time I seen someone this accurate at kicking balls was a friend of mine, Michelle, back in 5th grade.
All right.
Gotta have some comedy, bro. I thought it was good. Michelle, back in 5th grade.
Michelle.
Hey, she's accurate at kicking balls. Fuck you.
All you need.
Right?
All right,
I like this guy.
All right, moving on here to wrap things up. Let's go on ahead and give what we want to see in this next preseason game up against the Cardinals.
Well, I want to see a win.
Well, yeah, I want to see a win too, but who do you want to step up in this win? Who do you want to drive the bus for this win?
Noah, I want him to step up. I want to see some more out of him. Key, I need him to step up. I need to see more out of him. Miko Hardman, I like to see him break one free. I like to see what our other wide receivers can do, like Powell, with starters in there. Again, Great Wall of China, our offensive line, they're just studs. Pat Mahomes, stud. I would also like to see, hopefully he gets some reps with the starters as well. But the running back, Jerick
McKinnon.
Jerick McKinnon, yes.
You'll get his name eventually once he scores, 2 touchdowns.
I just need to say Jerick.
Jerick.
Okay. Do like
it's like a Derek with a J.
Is it French?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he's not French.
Jerick McKinnon, oui.
Oui.
Ha ha ha. But that's basically, I would like to see those players step it up.
Yeah. As far as the Arizona Cardinals matchup goes, I'd love to see what our starting offensive line does against their defensive line. You got to think they just signed J.J. Watt. I'm pretty sure they still have Chandler Jones. Those are like grade A defensive linemen. So if we're able to shut them down, that'll give me a lot of confidence going into the season.
Their wide receiver core is really good too. So that's where our safety needs to step up, and some of our cornerbacks.
Yeah, I should see how they do. I hope that. I agree with you with the Noah Gray stat line. He needs to at least catch a ball. Not have mistakes like bouncing the ball off your shoulder pad into the air and turning it over.
Got to get them hands on them balls.
I like to see Cornell Powell and Marcus Kemp, separate themselves in that wide receiver room, to make that cut easier. I love what Fountain and French are doing, but they're just not. I think it says a lot when they don't have very many targets and they are implemented in the game plan.
I agree. I agree with that. Everything you said sounds spot on. I think that's what the Chiefs need to do. Hopefully, Chad Henning has a good second half as well. Like to see more out of him to see if he still got it. That way, if, we're undefeated close to the end of the year, he could come in and see what he could do, try to get us an undefeated season. But that's a long ways away. We just got to do it a game at a time, like Pat Mahomes says. And I'm so excited to see this game. Let's go, Chiefs!
All right, bold prediction time. Big stat line. Who do you got?
Patty Mahomes, 250 yards just in the first half alone.
How many touchdowns?
3.
3? I got 2 of those going to Noah Gray for 75 yards.
Sheesh!
He's gonna have a big day. I'm interested to see how many snaps guys like Hill and Kelsey have when they've got that competition, because honestly, just playing with the backups and the starters does make the world of a difference.
I would love to see my boy Miko Hardman break one off. Oh yeah, on an 80-yard touchdown, or who is the other guy that's doing our kick returns
Hughes
now? Mike Hughes. I would love to see him return one. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah, and I'd love to see my man Tommy Townsend shock him out, bruh.
Shock, bruh.
Hit a few more inside the 5. I'd like to see a 70-yard punt for him. I think he has the leg to pin him 70 yards back.
I agree. I think he does too.
Anyways, that's all for us from this week. We'll come back at you after the Arizona game with update on stats, roster predictions, and our opinions about the NFL. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining the Benchwarmers.